Should be live. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Good to
Hi,
go.
everyone.
Hey, everybody. Happy Rebels Monday.
Welcome aboard. We have a nice, relaxing episode for everyone today because we're watching one and only one episode. So we're going to take our sweet time tonight.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Stress-free. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you.
We're in that holiday zone where everything's like sort of organically slowing down as well, even when you're trying to get stuff done. Like a lot of people weren't at work today, and I was in a zone. I was just like getting stuff done, no one bothering me, but yet it was relaxing, and yet I felt super efficient.
And
but
productive.
It was good. Yeah,
nice.
Productive, exactly.
It's
10 degrees in New York though, so I'm done with the weather already. It's not even winter.
Oh my God. Like my mom keeps saying it's snowing, and unfortunately, like my windows are like heavily blinded up here. So I've been doing a lot of unpacking still. And I'm like, every time I look out the window to see the snow, it's gone. Like, what is wrong with these people?
Here's like being a New Yorker, and you grew up in Boston. Snow is beautiful, but at the same time is also super disruptive and annoying. And if you have to ride the subway or drive a car or any of that, like it's very easy to start hating it. But if I have some time home on like, a Christmas Eve or something, that's really nice.
Oh yeah, that's like perfect. If you have nothing going on and you're not leaving the house, it's fantastic. However, being New York, being in the city, it's hard.
Well, hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We got Sarah and Jen and Sherry and Steven. As always, Jeff is producing the show tonight, so I know he is there behind the scenes. A little bit earlier today, we were supposed to have the autograph show at Frank, but I know they got postponed until next month. So if anyone was looking for that video, if maybe you missed it earlier today, they had to reschedule, but they'll have celebrating autographs. I don't know if they announced the exact date, but in January.
It's the second Monday of the month, so it'll be next. The second Monday of January. I'm not sure what the date is.
I think it's like the not the 10th, the 9th.
No, so make sure you don't tune in and don't miss that one.
We have tonight one episode to watch. How exciting is that? Season 3, episode 3, Holocrons of Fate. Now, Ashley, you said earlier this is one of your favorites.
Yes, I love this episode so much. Honestly, like in the week leading up to this, once I knew that, and the Google Doc, this is what we're doing, I was like, yes, and I just watched it like 3 times. So, and one of them was like about an hour before we're on here now. So that way it's like fresh, but there's just so much happening in this episode. There's things that lead to the future of the series. There's things that lead to the future of Kanan and Ezra as Jedi. So it's incredibly important. The fate of the Ghost crew is at stake here.
Yep.
Phenomenal.
There are very high stakes in this episode, and because we're deep enough into the series, I actually thought they might have like pulled the trigger on some of those stakes. It's Maul. You never know what's going to happen. He's a loose cannon, and the last time we saw him kill 3 people. So it's like, and granted they were Inquisitors and we were happy for them to die, but there's still, it's always tenuous at best when Maul shows up. There's going to be chaos, which is why we love him. We love to hate him. So that's going to be really fun to see on screen. Those creepy ass spiders make a return in this episode.
And the Bendu. Bendu. We get Tom
Bendu has a lot of he's got a lot of wisdom to share in this episode, and also a lot of like non-answers to questions, which always makes me crazy. Sometimes philosophy, like when it's trying to sound philosophical, it's just like, well, you didn't answer the question, sir. And
he's Yoda-ing all over the place.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of that, which is fun to watch. And because it's Tom, like you sort of go with it, right? It's like, okay, that's our Tom Baker. Which I think it was Jeff who was saying the combination cosplay of like, could you do like that big creature with a giant scarf from the 4th Doctor?
I want to see that happen. I want to see someone walk around with all those foam plates attached to them in the scarf. Yeah, that'd be amazing.
That would be super cool. What else happens in this episode? Obviously, Maul returning is like the big impetus. Like the big thing that happens in the episode is Maul returns, and they're going after the Holocron. We're going to get the big reveal of what they see in the Holocrons when we combine Sith and Jedi together, which this is one of those things that I like that Rebels did. Like we've heard about Holocrons in other parts of the saga, But like we see the usage and we see what happens when you take a Sith one and a Jedi one and you put it together, and it sort of releases like forbidden knowledge.
Yeah.
I guess it's some ways forbidden. It didn't tell us like the secrets of the universe or anything. It like literally was a map. And it led one guy to one planet. For him, it was forbidden knowledge, but for the rest of us, it was like, okay, that's where we're going.
Exactly. And it also like it gives and I'm grateful that Disney decided to do this in the parks, and they have Galaxy's Edge where they sell the Sith holocron and the Jedi holocrons and combine them together, and you have you know, the voice that comes from that I think is Mark Hamill. It's been a while.
In the parks?
Yeah. So if you have a Sith holocron, if you have a Sith holocron and a Jedi holocron and you put them together, and you know, it's I forget, it's Darth something, but he's the voice of.
Oh, he's Darth Bane.
Darth Bane, that's who it is.
Yeah, from the Clone Wars.
You hear the voice of Darth Bane tell you like the secrets of the Jedi and the Sith, or like
that's what we're supposed to hear.
But it's so cool.
Go to Tatooine, you know.
Exactly. And I was expecting that. Like I was really expecting that when I watched it, and when I got that, it's like, oh my God, this just led him right to Obi-Wan and to Luke. Like this is bad. This is really bad.
It is really bad, actually. It should be knowledge that should have been kept forbidden. And in fact, like, how did the holocron know? Like that's really the big thing, right? I want to say it is Darth Bane.
And if Obi-Wan is cut off from the Force at that point, like how would it know?
The dark side knows. That's what it is. Dark side knows.
Stressing me out.
He played Darth Bane in that Clone Wars season where Yoda is doing. You know how Yoda goes to the Sith temple and has his own experience where he like meets his like sort of the dark side version of himself, and he starts questioning was he right to support the war and all of that. The Sith that confronts him is Darth Bane, and that's who Mark Hamill plays. And I think we were able to get like Mark Hamill to sign as him for a card set for just a few cards, but like it only happened once, and then Disney PR was like, we can't do that any further. So it was one of those things where like when the new trilogy came out, all the rules changed about who we could and couldn't use for product, and like some people that we were using before you couldn't use on a go forward. A lot of things changed, and I think Mark Hamill as Darth Bane was caught up in that, but it was a very limited thing, so I don't know if those are around. If anyone ever got a Mark Hamill Darth Bane autograph, let me know. I'm pretty sure we had that on a checklist at some point.
I had actually won a signed Dave Filoni chopper, like signed with the gold choppy on eBay, and I was going through like medical issues at the time, and I had to contact the seller and be like, look, I'm going to be out of work for a while. I'm sorry. I won it. It was $60. And now I'm like, oh my God, it's going for
now
like
it'll be
4
worth
times.
Hundreds.
Yeah. Now it's like 4 times that much. And I'm like, I should have just, you know, obviously my bills come first, but it was just like,
it's the hard part. And you never know too, like what autograph is going to spike in value.
Exactly.
Like I've definitely seen, we'll say background people or like mid-tier, you know, mid-carders, right?
Yeah.
Who then become main eventers or get cast in something really big outside of the franchise, and then they're like really on everyone's demand list. And that happens in and out of Doctor Who all the time too. Like you never know when someone like does a guest spot on Doctor Who, and then all of a sudden they're like the lead of some like crazy show on the BBC.
Matt Smith.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that. But yes. So Sarah, season 6 of the Lost Episodes. I love that whole Yoda arc because we get like so much insight into the dark side in those episodes and what Palpatine was up to, and the sort of longer, older story of the dark side of the Force and dealing with like Yoda's internal struggle. We very rarely see him struggle. Like Yoda seems to always be like the North Star, like the one you look to who always has the wisdom. And then it's like, oh no, he's dealing with it.
But we needed to see him fail. We needed to see him struggle. We needed to see him have a really hard time doing this and kind of putting the puzzle together and, you know, the next step of the Force. Yeah. And so as much as many people say those are filler episodes, honestly, they're fascinating because we don't I don't think so at all. Yeah. We don't see, other than, you know, in Revenge of the Sith, we don't see Yoda struggle. This is you know, Jedi are not perfect. Jedi are not, you know, the be all end all. They are human or living beings.
I remember I was reading something recently, and it was like the definition of filler has been misused for years and years, right? And you the way you just said it, right? Like people are calling these filler when they're not. And someone was saying that we've now gotten to the point where if it doesn't solve a problem or move the plot in like a significant way in an episode. If it's just a character study, it's filler, or side adventure or something. But you never know, and you never know what the long term. I always use the Purgles as an example. It seems like the perfect example of a filler episode, and then like they're so critical to the finale. But also you could just get like great character study on someone, and I was like, whatever this little adventure was, if it reveals something about their character,
Bingo.
that's just as important as moving along the physical plot, like whatever the timeline is. So,
yeah.
He should. You're right, Sarah. He should have it together at 800. I'm only at. Well, I'm coming up on 42, which I think is like that magical age where you're supposed to figure shit out. And I was like, oh, that's depressing. Meanwhile, I did want to talk a little bit about some of the news of the week, because we had a really heavy news week in Star Wars in all sorts of great ways. So do you want to start with Golden Globes?
Yes, let's start there.
So award season is upon us. Yeah.
Our boy Diego Luna, Cassian Andor himself, is nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama, the Golden Globes. So
very excited to hear that.
Congratulations to Diego. We're rooting for you. I was really, really surprised, to be honest with you, because they've been known to kind of pass over anything sci-fi, really.
Anything genre.
Yeah, but they're kind of, I guess that after all these years, they're kind of figuring it out. You know, Angela Bassett being nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Wakanda Forever, which phenomenal actress. She totally deserves that as well. I was kind of surprised that Stellan Skarsgård didn't get Best Supporting Actor, but
yeah. It's always tricky because, obviously these types of shows win Saturn Awards and then they get recognized in like technical achievement and special effects and sound. And not that that's any lesser of a category than the acting, of course. But certainly it's treated that way. Like you think about who won the Oscar and it's always like the actors or what movie won, but people very rarely talk about all the crafts that go into everything. The Creative Arts Emmys is even like a separate Emmys from like the actual actors who win stuff. They have like legitimately a different ceremony on an earlier day. And I feel like that's where Star Wars and a lot of the other sci-fi shows get a lot of their nominations and a lot of their awards, but they are now opening it up. I think Game of Thrones helped. Game of Thrones, like really, they won a ton of Emmys for HBO, and House of the Dragon is on, and it's gotten people to look at sci-fi as not just like popcorn or like disposable. And it helps. It helps to have someone like Angela fucking Bassett. Like she's just like a force of nature, right? Like she deserves all the awards. Someone was actually restating. They were like, I just watched Black Panther for the second time, and I forgot that like Denai and Angela, their little like fight with each other, and like the lack of resolution that comes after that. And I was like, oh, like it breaks you, right? So,
that's kind of why. Now that it's been out for a while, that's kind of why I thought maybe like Okoye would be the Black Panther, and that was kind of where it was like a red herring, because it's like, okay, she's not Dora Milaje anymore. Who is she? But you also have the Midnight Angels, which is fine.
That's coming.
But I really, really kind of wanted. I understood why it was Shuri, but I just kind of, I had hoped.
I thought there'd be a team of them. But I think we're going to sort of get that with the Midnight Angels. And I love that they hated the name. It makes me laugh. I'm glad you said, I'm glad you mentioned, like, who is she? Because I was just watching a really fascinating video from our friends at Screen Crush, Ryan Airy, who we both love. And he talked about Marvel Phase 4 as all about finding your identity. And he went project by project. And he's like, the number one question for every single person who leads this film or this TV show is rediscovering what is their real identity, and then what does that effect have on the rest of the world around them. And he went one by one, and it was like very well done, and it wasn't shoehorning anything or like making a square peg into a round hole. Like everything was like perfectly laid out. And he's like, in this way it ties into the multiverse saga and will eventually probably become Secret Wars, which is literally a physical fight for everyone's identity. Like we have multiple versions of everyone floating around, and like who is the real you, and what is the you of this universe, and what is your purpose in life. And he went character by character, and I was fascinated. So I was like, yes, I highly recommend, when you're done watching our wraparound content, go watch Ryan Airy if you're not already subscribed. His Screen Crush video for the Marvel Phase 4 was fantastic.
Absolutely. The writing on that web series is just amazing. Like they get down to the nitty gritty and stuff. So it's
terrific.
It's fun.
Continuing the award space. So Diego got nominated for the Golden Globe for Best Lead Actor, and he also got the Critics' Choice nomination, and Andor the Show was nominated for Best Drama or Best Series for Critics' Choice. Also, so congrats all around to everyone nominated. I'm
Yeah,
sure there'll be
everybody
more
who worked
awards
on
coming.
Andor.
Yeah. Big news. Obviously, like the timing is off that like we just had the Saturn Awards and like Obi-Wan Kenobi just won a bunch of stuff. So next year they'll be in the contention for that,
Yeah.
along with like the Ahsoka show and whatever else. So that'll
Mando
be
season
exciting.
3. Yeah.
Mando 3. Yeah, which that'll be interesting then to figure out like how does Disney balance all of that happening. Other big news, we got a few different trailers. One is the Bad Batch trailer. So I'm gonna let you take that one away. Go run with it.
Oh my God. So you see what the stakes are for our Bad Batch. New costumes, new villains, figuring out where things go from here. And honestly, you guys, just you have to watch the trailer. Mark, tell them what you said.
Oh yeah. I'm
This is
more excited
important.
about Bad Batch season 2 now, having seen this trailer, than I was after seeing the finale of season 1. I think that season 1 was okay. And
Do you
I
feel
was
like they've
not
tightened it up a little bit and kind of made it more focused?
I don't even know if it's that so much as it looks more expensive and it looks like they have like a clear goal. Like Omega's like aged up a little. They gave her a better weapon. So she looks like a more of a contributing member of the team, which I always hate when there's like a kid tagging along who's no help. Like it's just a burden. That's just not my style of storytelling. Like it's an
Kids.
imbalanced team. But like they tackled some heavy stuff. I was watching a
Yeah.
re-review because once the trailer dropped, someone else put together like here's a reminder of everything that happened in season 1. And on paper, a lot of it's really interesting. And it's like, oh, the biggest thing I thought was that Crosshair is a
Yeah.
fascist by choice. His chip stopped working and he was like, oh, I'm still a villain. I was like, I like that. That's fun. I want to see more of that. I think there are people who choose to be bad people,
Yeah.
regardless of the circumstances, even when they know what's right, and they still are the bad guy. And I think seeing a villain like that on screen is important. Not just we're being brainwashed. So I'm excited to see Crosshair as the villain.
Yeah.
It's cool the Emperor's there because we're not going to see him in other projects, but we know he's looming, which is cool. The animation style looked really good.
Oh
And I'm
yeah, so
excited about
fluid.
Wanda Sykes. Like Wanda Sykes, like
Yes.
sure, that's fucking great. Like I love her. So
Like we had Rhea
from
Perlman last season,
yeah,
and having Wanda Sykes involved is equally as cool. We gotta have our funny ladies in here.
exactly. And I think there's a real plot for season 2 where now like season 1 was about survival. Like they had to survive Order 66 the same way the Jedi did, and they had to go into hiding and figure out again identity. Who are they? Right? Not that they're part of Marvel Phase 4, but like who are they and what's their purpose? This purpose seems to be now going beyond self-preservation and helping other people. So it's a
Right.
pivot, and it's kind of the way the rebellion grows, the way that Andor grew. So a
And the
little bit
way
of
the
parallel
Rebels
there.
crew grew.
Yeah, bringing it back home to the crew of the Ghosts.
They went
So
from
self.
being Robin Hood, stealing
Mhm.
from the Empire to give to the poor and the needy, to actually being part of something bigger. So
Yeah.
it's exciting,
So
and I
hopefully
cannot wait
it'll
to see.
I am really optimistic now, and I really feel like we're going from Rebel season 1 into Rebel season 2. And and I mean like in terms of the jump in quality.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get that same leap forward. And I think it's certainly possible. And then also in trailer news, so another sequel basically, Jedi Survivor, the new video game. So this is the sequel to EA's Jedi Fallen Order, which I kept calling all weekend Fallen Order Survivor, and Jason's like, it's Survivor, just Survivor. And so Cal Kestis is back, along with
Yay.
Seer, and he has a new friend named Bodhi, and they are going to beat the crap out of people. It looks really fun.
Yes.
They had a
Oh my
lot of
goodness.
gameplay in that trailer, and not a lot of story. But it looks really awesome. I loved the first Jedi Fallen Order game. I was terrible at it.
Yes.
And it was
So
still fun. Yeah.
I played like maybe a couple hours and then I'm like, oh my God, I really suck at this game. So what I
I put
ended
it
up
on the
doing was
easiest. Yeah. And I
going,
just,
yeah, like
yeah.
I'm sorry. I grew up with like Atari and Genesis, and
Yeah.
as
Super
soon as it
Nintendo.
got Super
Yeah.
Nintendo,
I'm a
Nintendo,
2D side scroller girl. I'm not doing more than that.
exactly.
Yeah.
But once you got into like beyond PlayStation 1, things got a little bit murky. So I don't know if I just aged out of it, but honestly, I'm really excited. I've watched a lot of the gameplay from Fallen Order. Um, Still going through that as I go along and getting catch up on the story beats. But there
Oh,
is. Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead. finish.
There's going to be and it's up for pre-order now, a Cal Kestis lightsaber that is the same lightsaber. It's confirmed from the Disney parks, but it just has a different adapter. It has the repaired end of the hilt. Now, it's $299. Do you really want to spend that money on something you can easily get in the park and just have somebody like maybe modify the end of it, the pommel for you? You could do that, or you could get that. It depends on if you're a completist, but I was kind of offended by owning the Cal Kestis saber myself and having the one that's got like all the wires and stuff broken on the end, and you can change it out and connect it to
really
another
cool.
one. But it's whatever floats your boat. And it'd be really cool if they made it like, okay, you get this lightsaber and you can interact with it in something in the game. That would be amazing. I don't know if they had that kind of technology, but it'd be something I would like to see.
Disney, or they would make it as a digital download. I'm already hearing rumors about this. Is the problem, right? We just got a trailer and there's already rumors. And I don't deal in rumors, especially as a licensee. I don't play that. But one of the missing things from the trailers, we didn't see Marin, Night Sister Marin, who was like a huge part of the first game. She was, and she wasn't a playable character, but she comes in during one of the big boss fights to throw her magic, and she's a huge part of the story. So for me, I'm actually a big story guy. So what I've often done, and it's because I have some type of a moral compass, I will buy a video game like Mortal Kombat X, be terrible at it, and like play a little bit, but then I will go online on YouTube and watch the walkthrough. And I feel like I can watch the walkthrough of the story because I have paid my price, right? Like I don't like that, like, it's available for free and then you're losing out on, like, I understand when people from like EA would say, please don't watch a walkthrough, like that's supposed to be locked content for people to unlock as they play. I was like, oh, well, I bought the game, so now I don't feel bad about it. But so I'm going to do the same thing with Jedi Survivor. I will buy the game, I will watch the walkthrough that same weekend, and then I will slowly learn how to play, and I'll be terrible at it. But so
I need to get me a PS5 first.
Yes, because it's not coming to Switch. There's no way it's going to be on the Switch, and that's what I have. So I'm still playing my like Mario World. But so the Night Sister Marin, who is a big part of the story, along with Greed's and whoever the green guy was, Seer obviously was the major player, along with Saw Gerrera. That Marin wasn't in any of that footage, even though they sort of said she was coming back. So is she going to be another playable character? That could be cool, and they're just not telling us. Or could you skin Cal essentially as her, like with the exact same like skill set? I mean, she's a Night Sister. You would think she might have like Jedi powers, right? Or is she going to be like a player that pops in to help, almost like a co-helper, the way that Bodhi guy seems to look?
Or is there going to be a big twist and they don't want to give it away?
Yeah, I mean, anything could happen, right? Like someone could die. I mean, 2 people from the crew that he picked up in season 1 in the first story are not there right now. And Seer looks really different. And we know 5 years have passed. So it's a kind of thing where they're closer to the Rebels timeline. They're closer to the Rogue One timeline. They're closer to the original trilogy timeline. Like everything is moving in that direction. There are all these rumors now about like what other streams of content they're going to pull into, who they interact with.
Would you be like shocked if there were our Ghost crew in there? Like,
no, that'd be amazing. I would love to see Vanessa, Hera, like Chopper. We already saw Saw Gerrera, and he seems to be like, they plop him in every now and then, and he connects to a bunch of stuff. So
see, whenever I know a lot of people get mad when they see Saw pop up in things, and they're like, oh, they're just really just forcing him on us. And I'm like, no, he's like, I honestly don't mind. Like he's enough of a presence in Star Wars that you could just put him anywhere and you just be like, oh shit, things are really going sideways now.
Know you're in trouble when he pops in, which is why I thought Cal's story is also very similar to Kanan's. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not that different from Ezra's either. Like, and I like that sort of circular storytelling where it's like we've bbeen there, done that, but like it's slightly different. But we have to figure out how to adjust to it now in this time period. This time around, Cal Kestis is closer being to a real Jedi Knight, and the gameplay shows it. Like his skill set is much stronger.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be really cool to see.
And also the animation and the graphics have just updated so much.
They look amazing. By the way, we don't work for EA. No one's paying us to say this.
No, but like just watching how emotional Cameron Monaghan got when he went out on stage and announced it, and he's holding the lightsaber.
By the way,
he looks so like excited and it's just proud to be a part of it, and you could just see it because his voice gets all emotional and choked up. So it's
I love that.
It's so cool that these people are making content and making games that we would have killed to have had it when we were kids.
Well, I gotta tell you, so 5 years ago when this game first came out, I was still at Tops and I was working on Authentics, and Cameron Monaghan was newly announced. And I went to Disney and I was like, is this even in our rights? Can we create content from this? Can I get autographs? And they're like, yeah, sure, have at it. And they didn't really care so much like who I was going after from the game
Wow.
once the cast was announced. So I got Cameron Monaghan, I got Deborah Wilson, and
Yeah.
obviously we had Forrest Whitaker, and we had a few other people, I think, from the game signed for us, like in various trading card sets and whatnot. But I actually like got a beautiful email back from Deborah Wilson,
Aw.
after bringing her in for, I know we had her on Women of Star Wars, but we had her in other places
Yes.
too.
Mhm.
And I forget where we first introduced her, but
I think it
like
was in Galaxy of Star.
was it
Not
Galaxy?
Galaxy.
Yeah. I'd have
Yeah,
to
one
go
of the
back and
Galaxy
look.
sets.
But she was great, and I was so happy to
Yeah,
have her. And we got a few of the other voice or motion capture people as well.
that's
So that
awesome.
was great. I was very happy to do that. I'm hoping that that continues. You know, I love these like second streams of content. I wanted to have Cameron Monaghan do Celebration, but I think he was busy. But he's someone who I think would book now. You bring him
Yeah,
to like the
I
next
think
Celebration,
I think
he
at
would.
Celebration
Yeah,
2019 he was filming like the last seasons of Gotham.
that must have been
So
what it was.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for it now. And this is what happens, right? They like give us this trailer, and it's like, this
March,
game's coming out like it's
March
soon, but it's
17th.
also like a million miles away. Oh yeah,
I
we should talk
know.
about the upcoming calendar. Well, let's do that at the end or when we start playing the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing we want you guys to watch. Apparently, the Honest trailer for Andor is supposed to be hilarious, so everyone go check that out.
Yeah, definitely. I started watching it before we went on, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta finish this later because this is
Yeah,
amazing.
so a lot of Star
They
Wars
never
news this week.
disappoint.
All right,
Yes.
we're going to jump into the episode now. And by the way, I think we're going to do this for our format going forward for the most part, unless we're dealing in two-part episodes. We're going to tackle one episode in an episode of ours, like
Yeah.
during a watch along. That way it gives us more time to talk, more time to interact, to read your funny comments. Sarah, I can't get over all these like video game discussions in here, right? It's like we could do a whole thing about Star Wars gaming. Because I got to tell you, I peaked at Super Mario World, and that shit's from 1991. So it's been all downhill for me since. Mortal Kombat X made me feel like an old crotchety man. I was like, I'll beat your ass at Mortal Kombat 2, but like Mortal Kombat
Button
X, which is,
mashing.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I got nothing on. I can't play with these kids. Like, there's no way. So
I know, I know. Oh my God. And I've tried. I've tried to do Battlefront. I've tried.
I can't do
I
it.
think I peaked at Cool Borders and
Yeah.
Tomb Raider 2, like PlayStation 1 era, and then I'm Gemma Lammy, Power Rap of the Rapper. That's my cutoff.
Yeah, I like the golden age of Nintendo, which I gotta say, like there are 2D side scrollers making sort of a comeback because of retro gamers and like men my age. Like Switch is actually pretty good about their back library of games and the retro stuff that like the whole Turtles collection that just came out is every Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game across every platform. So Nintendo, Genesis, the arcade games, and it's all on one cartridge for
Oh,
like
I
30
lost
bucks.
so much
It was
money in that
awesome.
arcade game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I could
So
own a
much
house
money.
today if I didn't like plug those quarters into that game. Let me tell you.
See, video
Yeah.
games ruined us. They say
Yeah.
millennials are lazy. No, those video games, they ruined
Yeah.
us.
That and Street Fighter 2. I would own an apartment building with the money I
Mortal
spent on
Kombat
Street
2.
Fighter 2.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, with that,
X-Men.
let's jump into oh my god, the X-Men side scroller. All right, guys, we're gonna do a whole episode about our favorite video games and talk
Yes.
Star Wars.
We can do that in our Christmas episode.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Oh yeah, next week's the Christmas episode. We have
Yeah.
we have so much to talk about. All right, let's open the episode. And this is one where I know you're actually going to want to talk about it. So, do you want to lead us in the countdown? This is season 3, episode 3 of Star Wars Rebels: Holocrons of Fate.
So this is a very important episode, and we're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play. And they're not on the ghost this time. Do you think it's smart that Kanan is not telling Ezra what the holocron is?
I go back and forth on this because I think if you withhold information, they're going to fill in the blanks themselves or like chase it even more. He could have just lied to him, and that would have been better than nothing.
Right.
Yeah, that's a terrible answer. But like, don't lie either. But like, I think the truth is always helpful because you're supposed to trust him. He's your student, right? Like,
but you also know he's been kind of pulled towards the dark side.
All the more reason not to lie to him, because
Yeah.
once he finds out that you don't trust him, it's going to push him further down that road.
Oh, he can smell the carbon scoring.
Yeah, I have no parenting skills, Sarah, because I have no kids. So even as an uncle, I'm like, bare minimum. Tell the truth from a certain point of view. Good call, Robert. I use that on my husband all the time.
Oh no, the
I
ghost
did
is in
see
danger.
Oh, these guys are always in danger. Get out of danger. This is the season they're on the run. This is the Empire Strikes Back season. They are I would say they're at their lowest, hiding out on Chopper Base, trying not to get killed. You thought they were in trouble when they were running from the Inquisitors, but like they were joining the larger conflict. They felt quite strong in season 2. Season 3, they're getting their asses kicked like every week.
And he just pushes Hera out of the way. Jesus, chill, Maul.
It's not an Inquisitor.
Why would you trust Maul, Ezra? Why?
I think that Ezra is not so naive that he trusts Maul, but he thinks that he can get what he wants from Maul without there being consequences. And that's the naivete. Like he's a little bit like, no, I don't trust him, but I also think that I can survive this and get what I need. And I think others have played that game and lost. Like I would argue that Bo-Katan lost her sister because she played that game. And so did most of Death Watch, right? Like the leader of Death Watch, Paz Vizsla, was killed by Maul. Like a lot of them were like, "Oh, I'll get what I want out of him, and I'll be fine." And it's like, you're gonna lose something in the end.
Absolutely, and this is where I thought they were in trouble because you knew what happened with Maul in Clone Wars, and you knew that he didn't give a damn about killing somebody to get what he wanted.
He's got a penchant for chopping off heads, so he's done it
and
for
just
a few people.
Impaling people on lightsabers. So when he's standing behind them, I was just like, oh.
Yeah, this is some Walking Dead season 7 shit.
Yeah.
By the way, I remember when this episode aired, and I like literally screamed. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Maul!" Like, and even though like we all kind of knew he was coming back, you can't get rid of him. And we knew that he was going to have to eventually like resolve things with Obi-Wan. But this is, I mean, he's on the Ghost and he's got them hostage. And those 3 are not getting past him. I don't care how strong Zeb is. I don't care how smart Hera is or how tactical Sabine is. The 3 of them are not taking down Maul.
No. Did I not once rule your people?
Slap. I mean, he's not wrong. He was king for like a minute. So he was the Mandalore before we used that word.
He's just like sticking his lightsaber in Hera's face. Like,
I enjoy the way he talks down to people. Like he's a belittler. And the way that he is like cold and calm and just sort of dismissive. It's this kind of evil that Thrawn also has. They have that same energy, and it works really well in Star Wars. There's something about like the dark side just being like cold and detached and unloving. Like, it's very scary and it's very sociopathy. But he's usually like an off the charts lunatic. Like he like loses his mind.
So he obviously knows about the connection between Kanan and Hera and knows Kanan's real name. And he's digging around in her head right now.
Yeah. Oh, poor Hera. She's been through so much.
Looking at Maul, I'm sorry, like Insidious just ruined it for me. When they call it like the lipstick face demon, like pops up behind Patrick Wilson's character, and I'm like, who's this Darth Maul looking MFR? Like, just hanging out in this movie. Like they didn't get like cease and desist by Disney for this. So
sort of generic looking devil demon kind of situation.
But it looks like Darth Maul.
It does. It really does.
Get me out. So every time you zoom in on Maul's face in this, that's like all I can think of is that stupid lipstick face demon.
Look how good this animation looks. So this is what I like. I don't think the Bad Batch animation is as good as Rebels. And that's one where I'm like, it's not as good as the final season of Clone Wars. So I don't know what they did to like scale it down.
I think I think it was also like working during the pandemic. A lot of their
That could be
resources to
part of it.
finish Clone
Yeah.
Wars season 7 was kind of stretched thin. So it's like, okay, if you're not working on Clone Wars season 7, you need to be working on Bad Batch.
That
So
makes sense.
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I like this with the spiders. It's possible to get along with them.
Ezra just kind of automatically goes to the side of fear, and
Yeah.
Kanan's trying to teach him, like, hey, you can't be like this.
Yeah, I'd be horrified. It's like, okay, this tiny mountain is going to start talking to me now.
So cool. I want a Bendu plushie.
I'm surprised that they didn't do any merch with him, but Rebels is light on merch to begin with. And we're going to talk about that next week, actually, in our Christmas show. So actually, this should be our moment where we give you guys our call to action for next week. So Christmas is obviously the 24th. We're going to do our Christmas special next Monday, the 19th. So we wanted to do it before Christmas and talk about some of our favorite Star Wars related Christmases, some of our favorite Star Wars Rebels merch, maybe some gifts we've gotten for Christmas that's Star Wars Rebels related. So come prepared to talk about Christmas and Star Wars. I can't imagine with this group that there isn't a lot to pull from.
Yeah, I need to go digging through my boxes in the next room and find my stuff up there.
Yeah, I gotta look because I've gotten some stuff, and it becomes like scattered across like the various parts of the house, and what's where, and then I have some stuff in the office. Like,
you must have way more. You got it on the ground floor. I wasn't able to. I have a couple of action figures from the early Rebels days, but that's it.
I don't have a ton, but I also know that I need to actually like look this week and find stuff. I was doing another Amazon search recently, which Amazon is not obviously the be all end all. eBay is probably better for catching like the old stuff that's no longer in print, but like it really is light on all things Star Wars Rebels. Like not everyone got a Black Series. Even like the regular action figures, not everyone was put into like the Disney Infinity which was a big thing at the time.
We're missing Zeb. Like,
yeah.
What the crap? I have every single one of them but Zeb, and I think he's the only Star Wars figure I do not have.
Yeah.
I even got that weird Boba Fett figure that was kind of hard to get for a while.
But like there was never a Governor Price Funko. Like, there was never a Governor Price just regular action figure. I know there's Thrawn stuff, but I think they did that because like he's Thrawn, right?
Yeah.
Like there wasn't any of the other supporting it. Like, where's my Commander Sato? And I realize that like some people might think those are deep cut characters, but if they're main leads in this show, but the show didn't get the love it deserved. Anyway, we'll talk about the good stuff too, though. And like I think internationally there might have been some more merch as well.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I like this little task that they're going on where Bendu is giving some wisdom to Kanan and Ezra, because Kanan is still learning too. We always forget that he's not really a Jedi Knight yet. Like he is, but like he didn't really go through all the formal training, and he's still learning, and he's still at a point where like he's unsure about his skills. And especially as he's seeing Ezra like slip to the dark side, he's not like well equipped to handle the situation, to know exactly what to do. Other Jedi Masters around there, like Yoda or Plo Koon or someone, like they would have experience in this space and be like, oh, here's how you combat this. Here's how you help fix it. So you don't lose your apprentice. Because I'm sure every apprentice at some point is tempted by the dark side. It's the easy way out. You're filled with power. They've all been there, done that. Kanan barely got his own training. Steven, I think we will get live action Ezra and then probably another live action Ahsoka. I think in action figure and in Funkos. I think that for the live action shows, we'll start getting more merch. Andor's a little bit of a weird place because like it's just so grown up that it's almost not merchandisable. Like remember we were talking about like our thesis for the show is like you must resist fascism through armed revolution.
Yes.
And then Mandalorian is the Jon Favreau action figure hour. So which oversimplifying, I don't mean to like degrade one at the expense of the other. Hey, look at that. All right, so they had no chance. Like, what was the point of that?
And the thing that I like about Maul is like no matter how much the Ghost Crew plots and plans, they can't beat him.
No, of course not. He's a Sith Lord. Get with it.
Yeah. So I don't think they've ever come up against somebody until now like this. So it's always been some bumbling stormtroopers and some Imperial officers. It's never been like an actual Sith Lord.
Right. Yeah. The only one who's actually in this crew really gone up against a powerful dark side user would be Kanan and Ezra in their fights with the Inquisitors, and they were often aided by Ahsoka, including during Twilight of the Apprentice. And we did see that, like, it didn't really end well for them. Like, they escaped with their lives, but they lost, they lost a lot. So
I love that line from the Bendu, or maybe they'll be eaten. Such is the way of things.
see what I mean about, like, he has no help.
None. He talks in riddles, like, they'll figure it out. You know, if they don't, oh well, life goes on.
At some point, I think it was probably in a Rebels recon, they were saying, like, the Bendu's kind of like the ocean. Like, water is life-giving, and there's like a whole ecosystem in there, but also you can drown in it. And it's not the ocean's fault you drowned. Like, if you're swimming in it and you can't swim, or if you get eaten by a shark, that's where the sharks live. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, it's just nature the way it is. So it's neither good nor bad.
Spider den's like creepy as hell with all these holes and stuff. Like, ugh.
So well done.
Sorry, I've got like goosebumps from the spiders. It's just like, oh.
Someone watched this episode and was like, it'd be horrifying in live action, and we should bring it to Mandalorian just to traumatize the kids.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
My arachnophobic.
Yeah, I'm
on the couch, like.
I don't know if spiders are in like my top 10. Like, I'm more so afraid of like bees and wasps. So when the murder hornet thing was happening, I was like, well, I'm never leaving the house again. Like back when that was really going to be a thing. The spider's not as bad. But like, I don't like flying insects that kind of creepy, like if like the murder hornets really got me. Like, that was the kind of thing where I was like, if these things are real and they really exist, like,
I don't mind bees. Yeah. It's yellow jackets and wasps and anything that is really like unnecessary to exist. Like, it serves no greater purpose other than to just sting you and make your day hell. Like, no.
Sarah brings up a good point about the Bendu. The Bendu is sentient and has a choice. So being neutral, like, neutral characters with choice, and actually there's a really famous quote about neutrality and how it always helps the oppressor, not the oppressed, right? So you should never choose to be neutral in any type of situation. I think for him, he views like, whether these guys succeed in their mission or not, like whose life is more important, the spiders or Kanan and Ezra, right? I think that's where he's coming from with this. And there's a lesson to be learned. If they learn it, they do, and if they don't, they don't. Like, he's not thinking that they need to stop Darth Maul from killing all these people. Like, we're not going down the chain. But you're right. Like, the Bendu is a sentient being. He doesn't exist like water.
Yeah. The dark side will not
Your true
be able
struggle
to
has only
open your
begun.
Jedi holocron. That task will fall to one of you.
Yeah.
Such power comes with a price.
Doesn't it always? Right? Like, see, that's the kind of thing. Once a secret is known, it cannot be unknown. That's not deep. That's the kind of philosophy that is just like, I would roll my eyes at him, and then the Bendu would smush me because he'd be sick of my nonsense. I'd be highly smushable.
No, and Kanan just brought up a good point. Like, well, you wanted it, now you got it. So
yeah,
now's the time we have to figure out what happens next.
I do think there's some merit in using Maul the way he wants to use you, as long as you have an escape plan. And there's
always have a plan B. Always.
Yeah, you just need to know you can't trust him as far as you did. And I think even in Twilight of the Apprentice, everyone was weary of him, but they blinked for 1 second, and then Kanan's blind, right? Like, Kanan really should be dead. It's like lucky that he reacted so quickly. And I think if Kanan had died, I don't know if Ahsoka would have then been able to like fight Vader, and would Ezra have turned to the dark side? Like, you can imagine the what if we're doing Star Wars.
Oh yeah, the grief would be huge.
Went slightly different. Yeah. I think Ezra becomes another dark side user. Ahsoka probably dies. Maybe the rebels don't win. Like, could this be a point where like we never get to Luke Skywalker because
he's poking the bear right now?
Yeah.
Follow the sound of my voice.
See what I mean? Like, he's so my young apprentice. He's like, first of all, he's not. But like, way to rub it into Kanan, right? Like, that's a dig at everyone.
Yeah. He just keeps saying it.
Yeah. Well, it's the same way he would call Ahsoka Tano Lady Tano, because she wasn't a Jedi Master. She's not Master Tano. He was deliberately devaluing her. She's just a citizen, the way that like Mace Windu says that. Remember when Mace Windu calls her citizen and it was like a lynch mob for like Mace Windu? I was like, oh my god, like,
God.
all right, calm down. Like, look, I was pissed at him too, but like Mace Windu is mostly a good guy. Like he was
I was
trying
never
to, like,
trying to blind you. Oh no, you were just trying to kill me.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Don't trust Maul. Just don't. This is the lesson that they should learn.
Yeah.
Don't trust him.
I will say this scene is dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like him getting pulled into the, like, literally to outer space and he's going to survive. Like,
it's a foreshortening to Leia.
It is. It really is. Which, it's fine to have this in. You're not getting in. Ugh.
Damn it.
It's all like sort of crystallized. Yeah, they shouldn't have split up. I mean, good on Maul for like he does not stop. There's no chill with him, right?
Nope.
He holds a grudge and he just keeps on swinging.
Yeah, just kill their friends. I got the holocron. La 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 la.
And this is where I know, like, if I were Ezra, I would have teamed up with Maul. I'd have been like, this will be fun. Who are we going to kill? And we'd be on our own little adventure. And you know what? We would have killed Ben Kenobi, because it would have been the two of us. We would have been a great little tag team. And then we would have then figured out, well, Maul figures it out. Maul figures out that he's not leaving Tatooine because he's watching over someone. And Obi-Wan, we'll watch when we eventually watch Twin Sons, we'll see this. And you can see it in Obi-Wan's eyes. He's like, oh no, he's right. And Obi-Wan, like, the tell was there, right?
Yeah.
So Obi-Wan was like, I have to kill him now.
His
so
pupils
Maul
dilate. Yeah.
Maul would have figured it out and he would have killed Luke. And then there's no movies, right? Like, then there's no story, right? So, like, obviously from like a storytelling perspective, this is where the what if really gets interesting. If you're able to kill Kanan, you'll then kill Obi-Wan and then you'll kill Luke, and then we'll never have been a Luke Skywalker. So does it then fall on Leia to save this?
Yeah, this is what happens when you connect this Jedi and Sith holocrons at Galaxy's Edge. No, it doesn't.
Can you imagine? That'd be amazing.
I would be like, dude, this is so worth $100.
The animation is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, is it still $100 for those two? I don't know. I need to get a Sith holocron.
I don't have one, but it's on my list because I bought a lightsaber last time and I was like, here's the thing. I've also been a licensee for 8 years now. How much Star Wars shit do I really need? And by the way, no one in the comments answer that. I know.
All of it.
And I should be the one being like, buy it all. But see, pop culture junkies everywhere. So
they ducked and he decapitated all the droids. So
yeah. Very smart.
Very smart. Yes. Totally, David. Horror movie rules never split up. Oh.
Oh my god, calm down.
Wow.
It's the lack of patience.
This is so cool.
Yeah, this is amazing.
He's like, you can see him. I love this like negative effect animation.
It's very well done.
It's wild. I want to draw it on a card. Yes, Sarah, it is awesome when you change those crystals in the holocron. So worth it.
The key to destroying the Sith. He never figures it out. And of course, Maul's looking for Obi-Wan, Ezra, twin sons.
He doesn't. Well, I think he does.
Wait a minute. Ezra. Okay, so I've watched this episode so many times, and I'm just now as I'm watching it with you guys. Right. The key to destroying the Sith is on Tatooine. It's Luke. Yeah. And of course, Maul is looking for the same damn thing. He's trying to go to Tatooine. And for a second, I was like, wait a minute, like they both need that same knowledge. The Force wills it, right? The Force works in weird, messed up ways.
Ah, so cool. And he just like hightails it out of there, like, oh, Tatooine.
He's very good at escaping. All right, so he figured out it's Tatooine, with the twin suns, which I gotta say, like, I don't know how many planets out there have twin suns, but also when you get to a planet, planets are big. Like, I can't find stuff in my neighborhood. I don't know how he's gonna find Obi-Wan Kenobi, but like maybe there's only a few ports that are like really habitable on the planet. So we are investigating 3 neighborhoods, right? There's the Cantina, there's the town. Like, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
There's ain't a lot on Tatooine. And especially in this time period, it was more hopping during the prequel era. Okay, so Ezra saw a lot of planets and the twin suns. By the way, this pays off. Like, this is episode 3. This pays off the episode before the season finale. So we have to go an entire season now of unrelated stories to eventually find our way to the Twin Suns episode, which of course is
so worth it.
So good.
So worth it.
Yeah.
I was very so excited when the trailer for that episode dropped on Disney Plus or Disney XD. It was like, what? Are they really doing it? And then you just see like Obi-Wan with the pose, and I'm just like, I purposely did my work schedule so I would have that Friday night off so I could watch it. And I never took a Friday night off. And I was like, can I just work a double on Saturday?
I didn't realize that you were working on Friday nights, because I was usually I would be home on a Friday night for the East Coast viewing and tweet along and then go out if I was going out. So unless there was something like, a concert that I had to get to or something. Yeah.
I was working I'd do my like 40-hour weekday job from like 8 to 4:30, and then I'd like drive to my job at the comic shop from like 5 o'clock till close, and that would be my Friday night, working until 10. And so I purposely like swapped the shift. I'm like, can you cover my shift? I'll work yours tomorrow and my shift tomorrow if you come in. Because it was just like, it was something I didn't want to miss, and I didn't want the internet to ruin it for me, because I wanted to see what happened.
Because they will.
It was like Maul versus Obi-Wan. This was huge. So
all 10 seconds of it.
But you know what?
I like that duel though. I stand by it.
I do. I'll tell you why. I didn't like it to begin with, because I was just like, literally, that's it. That's all we got. And I was so mad. But then I thought about it. It's like, you see the change in Obi-Wan. It's not defense, it's attack. It's, I must protect this at all costs. And I'm sure we'll go over this at the when the episode comes up to discuss. But
Maul was blinded by anger and revenge, and Obi-Wan was able to see through that because he was thinking clearly. So there's clarity versus rage. Yeah. So in clarity won over rage, which I think is a good lesson in general. But yeah, I love that episode. I thought it was so well done. It does lead up to the one thing that I always get nervous about in Rebels, is how they Forrest Gump their way through the history of Star Wars. There's a few instances of that. You can make the case that like they don't even need to be there for this episode. They don't really add anything or detract anything. It's very Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It all happens with or without him. Same thing. Like in that episode anyway. This one, it's critical. Like the Rebels had to be there, so of course it makes sense to pay it off. But like they really didn't need to be there with Obi-Wan and Maul. This could have happened in their own little thing, but there was no other vehicle. Rebels was the only new thing airing outside of the movies, and they weren't going to put this in the movies. And obviously you've got the comics and the books, but they wanted this on screen somewhere. So I often wonder if there was another show, like would this have gotten shoehorned into a different place if Rebels wasn't the only thing on air?
I think so. But at the same time, it's an important story to tell, and I trust Dave Filoni to tell it in a very smart way that will not only be fan service, but be like what motivates the story and pushes it forward.
Yeah.
So
it gives a great, Sam Witwer story to always tell. He's very good at dissecting that whole situation, and Steve Stanton's terrific in the role.
That whole breakdown where he's discussing it. Like I think you sent it to me a while back. It was just crazy good to hear.
There's one version where I think I'm walking in the background because he's doing it at Celebration 2019.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's me with my headset, looking like this with the headset on. Probably running to some crisis. It was one after another, and something. Oh my God, I was thinking about Frank coming back with a show today, which will be, again, and for anyone who missed out, if you were looking for Celebrating Autographs today, it got postponed to next month. So Frank will be back. I want to say it's Monday the 10th with Celebrating Autographs. I may have to visit at some point his show, but it was reminding me when I saw that they posted he was going to have the show coming back of all the things that like went wrong. and granted, Chicago was great. I feel really proud of everything we did. But you remember the crazy shit, like the snow, and like people getting stranded and like all the problems, like
Peter Mayhew's illness. I know a lot of fans were unjustly pissed off about that, and that was like,
we had to cancel one day.
Yeah, he's
we
doing what he can.
Ahmed trapped in the airport and not being able to get out because of customs.
Bullshit.
That was terrible.
Absolute bullshit.
And Tamora had to cancel at the last minute. Oh, of course, you're not alone in that. I mean, I don't know if Riz is based in London, I think, for the most part. So who knows? Maybe he'll pop up for Celebration 22. We should talk a little bit about what's coming up on our channel.
Yes.
All right, so next week, join us Monday the 19th for the Rebels Revisited Christmas Spectacular, just like the Rockettes. And then we've got our year-end wrap-up the following week. So we'll do a little year in review kind of thing. Now, we've been on air for about 6 months, a little over 6 months at this point. But we're going to talk about everything that happened in Star Wars in 2022, kind of like a best of. So maybe we'll have competing best of lists. We hadn't really thought about making it like a counted listicle, but I think we're going to want to talk about like some of the things we love that happened throughout the year, like Celebration and San Diego Comic-Con, Andor, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, like all that good stuff.
Tales of the Jedi, Bad
Batch. Yeah. So a lot of fun stuff. Then we get into the new year, and the Bad Batch actually premieres on Wednesday the 4th. So our very first show of January of 2023 will be a Bad Batch preview show. We're going to talk a little bit about like Bad Batch season 1, since we weren't on air when season 1 was really going. Some of the connections to Rebels, set up for season 2, maybe make some big predictions, based on the trailer footage and whatever new footage they're going to put out there. And I know this is something you're very passionate about. So I may kick back and relax and just like hang out. I'll be like Jeff in the back being like, sounds great, Ashley, go.
Just let her talk. Go. Go. Like I remember like when that episode premiered with the Syndulas of the Bad Batch, and I was at a con in Indianapolis. I can't remember if it was Indie Pop Con. I think it was Indie Pop Con. So I worked the con all day. I wasn't able to stay up till 3 a.m. and watch it when it premiered, and my phone was blowing up. Like Spencer, everybody who knows that I love Rebels was just like, "Oh my god, did you see Harry's mom?" And I'm like, "Wait, what? What is happening?" So I was like, "Okay, I know it's like really, really late at night, and I'm tired and I'm exhausted, and we drove like 5 hours to get here, but I need to watch this episode." And I'm so glad I did. I was just tears. It makes me so happy to see the Rebels characters show up in other places. Even Squadrons.
Caleb and Hera and Chopper.
Probably one of the best episodes of the Bad Batch was that Aftermath episode, the very first one.
It was a strong start to the season. And we got to say, look, my husband was thrilled because Bib Fortuna made an appearance. So for him, he was like, we can watch Bib and nothing else. Like those 10 minutes, like,
70-minute episode.
But it was it was so cool to see these characters, and I'm like, oh my god, first they have Caleb, and now they have Chopper and Hera's mom is alive, and it's amazing. And I was like, oh my god, if she's alive now, does that mean they're gonna kill her off? And then when she stayed on for a few episodes, I'm like, oh my god, they're giving her an arc, we're gonna care about her and she's gonna die. Like, but thankfully, knock on wood, that didn't happen.
They do love to kill moms in this show. It's a thing.
I hope we don't see that in season 2.
I'm doubtful. I also think we have a chance to see some other really interesting female characters, like with Sabine being such a big part of the Ahsoka show. It wouldn't surprise me if we get like a very young Sabine in Bad Batch, the same way we've seen young Hera, and maybe more of like her mom. Like I love Ursa Wren and I love the brother. I think Ursa and Tristan are really interesting. The dad's interesting too. So between like maybe we see all the Wrens, maybe we get another Bo-Katan appearance. Like anything to connect to Mando and Ahsoka seems to be where we need to head, right? So like that would be a plan for like the Bad Batch to connect, and maybe even a little bit to Andor. Like it wouldn't be surprising if they, like, we already saw Saw Gerrera once. Like, is there a young Luthen? Like, we're not going to see another young Andor because like that's too on the nose. But like other surrounding characters, bring Mon Mothma in. Like she's already in Clone Wars. She's already in Rebels. This is what I
love. Like, this is what I love. It could go so many different directions.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that in January though. Like I'm realizing now we're like,
and it will.
So that'll be fun. And so then
David
February.
also said Unifying Force will be a rewatch on Christmas Day, re-premiering an old episode to watch at your leisure. So make sure you guys check that out.
Yep, I can't believe we're in Christmas and New Year's. And then
I know,
just a reminder on the Thursday show, which is happening now, they're already in their March to Mando season 3. In fact, last week they had very special guest with Leilani Sue
Yeah.
we did watch along season 2. And now they're continuing every Thursday up until March 1st, which is the premiere of Mando season 3. Our watch along starts in February.
This week we have Misty Rosas as our
Yay! Oh,
So
you
the
guys have
frog
had
lady
such a good
herself.
cast.
And
Love her.
Speaking of the spiders.
yeah. Speaking of the spiders, God, if I were her, I'd be horrified by those things. I don't know how much like she had to physically do around them and how much it was practical and how much was digital, but I would lose my mind.
Just the memory of Grogu shoving those spiders into his mouth and the goop and the face hugger.
It's a whole thing.
I'm like, I kind of wish I slept in.
Pretty creepy.
So our March to Mando season 3 is only in February. We start on Monday, February 6th. We do Trials of the Darksaber and then Legacy of Mandalore the following week. Then we do the 2-parter Heroes of Mandalore. And then we have our preview / predictions / identify what Mark will be wrong about show. And then we're into March. And at that point, we start getting ready for Celebration, for Jedi Survivor, and then and the Mandalorian. So it's going to be kind of crazy. And it's kind of crazy that we were able to plot out this far in advance. I think part of it is that we're also going to start doing like one episode for watch alongs, unless it's a 2-parter. That's really going to be our cadence going forward to save room.
Do you think there's going to be an Ahsoka episode ready for people to watch at Celebration and will premiere at Celebration? No,
the show's not coming out until like July or something. So they'll give us like a really good trailer and they'll bring up the cast. I think that's what they'll do. Like, I think that'll be the best they'll do. And maybe they'll announce someone new. I think that's as good as it's going to get, unfortunately. We did see online, though, did everyone see this, that Rosario and Ashley were hanging out at a convention together and signing and took a picture?
Yeah, they're at GalaxyCon Columbus.
Yeah, this is good news.
Of course, like 2.5 hours away from where I used to live after I moved away from there.
That's always how it goes, right? Like, I always find that the people I'm most interested in are like they're somewhere in Japan right now or some nonsense.
Yeah.
I think this was a very smart move because the rumblings about that like conflict or rivalry were like really starting to get out of control in a way that I was worried for both of them and the show and the future of the character, even though I don't think any of it was real. Like, I think that all of it was conflated or like misconstrued or exaggerated or just flat out lies. And so the fact that the two of them like coordinated some signings and some public events, I don't even think it's damage control. Like, I think it's like, hey, we want to get ahead of this.
We love the character. We're both custodians of this character.
Yep.
Live action, animated. We're guardians of it. Let's And I saw somebody had gotten their Clone Wars sabers, or the not the Clone Wars, the Rebel sabers, the fancy box signed by both Ashley and Rosario. So that's really cool.
That's good. Once we start seeing their signature on the same piece, that is a good sign. Good sign for the fandom. There are a lot of characters that have multiple actors portraying them, especially when they're animation characters. I think Leia's a bad example, but there's like 9 women who have voiced Leia other than Carrie Fisher across the various platforms, right?
Yeah.
Darth Vader's been done by a few different guys, and now with James Earl Jones retiring, and there are numerous people in the suit. Like, there's always going to be multiple people like playing
Spencer
characters.
Wilding and
there's 2 Hans. We have Alden and we have Harrison, and multiple people who have played Chewie with Jonas and with Peter, and never mind stunt people who don't often get credited. So
and
voices,
Lando, Donald, and Billy D.
And voice people too. Like, there's people who've done the Han Solo voice in video games and in other animated things like Forces of Destiny and stuff like that. I think that more and more we're going to see that has to continue if the franchise is going to outlive all of us like we expect it will, right?
Agreed.
Like, the franchise will outlive all of us, which is crazy. So at some point, like, we're already seeing it with the AI and like the digital, the deep fake, or whatever we're calling it now with the video, the de-aging and all of that. So there will always be a stand-in and a voice person. Tarkin has multiple people who took over for him, whether it's Stephen Stanton as a voice actor or Guy Henry who filled in for the mocap and all of that. So
yeah.
Yeah. How many people have played Obi-Wan Kenobi now?
It's just a good time to be a
Yeah.
Star Wars fan. There's so much. I love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So, and as always, we have tons of content to tag along with it. And of course, next week.
Yay. Catherine says she talked to Rosario about the picture of the two of them together and she genuinely lit up. That's awesome. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear happiness and peace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Dave, that there are always going to be like specific pieces for specific actors. And that's true. I would never have like Harrison Ford sign my Solo poster. Like the same way I wouldn't have Alden sign like a Return of the Jedi poster.
Right.
But like
and
if
I wouldn't have Rosario sign my Clone Wars
of course
sabers because that's Ashley and Lauren Mary Kim because they were the Clone Wars. So
yeah. So right, this brings up like, okay, if we have something that's sort of a more generic piece, that's where we put them on, or some type of like physical thing.
Yeah.
But remember,
we'll talk about that.
Rosario is the live action Ahsoka, and Ashley is our real life Ahsoka. I remember she coined that, and I thought that was very clever. And she really is. Okay, I think that's everything for tonight. Yeah. So join us next week. We finished close to on time. Look at us. We're gonna this one episode thing is a winner.
It is. We get our blah blahs out of the way.
We did a lot of talking. There's a lot of news to come. I forgot how much news there was this week. Just wait till we start getting into celebration announcements.
But you know what? We also got to discuss the episode. That's important too. So
yeah, that was nice.
I love this.
Look at us covering the episode that's in the title.
Yeah.
Everyone in the comments knows that's not what our show's about. Well, thank you everyone for joining. We had a lot of great discussions tonight. This was really nice catching up with all of you. I saw some returning faces we haven't seen in a bit. I really appreciate all of you coming in on a Monday night and hanging out with us.
Oh yeah, totally. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and all our new faces that are becoming members of the family. That means a lot. We really appreciate you.
Come join us next week for our very special Christmas episode.
Holiday extravaganza.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bring your favorite. If you've gotten a Star Wars gift, can you imagine? I think everyone in this chat has. Bring your favorite gift. I'd love to hear all about it.
Especially if it's Rebels related. Like we want to see it. Like
the
rarer the better. Yeah.
That'd be really fun. And then after that, the year end. The wrap up. Think about your favorite moments that have happened all year in Star Wars, especially if they're connected to Rebels. Because I have a few. It's very Mon Mothma heavy. It's going to be a Mon Mothma listicle.
Mark Mothma has struck again.
Exactly. So that's everything for this week.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope you had fun, and we can't wait to talk to you next week and do our show and tell and find some cool stuff. So start digging. Thank you so much for joining us. May the force be with you.
Next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.